So now we will go to the real charts and then understand all the theories that we have learned till now, how we can apply them on a real chart to understand what price is going to do next. And that helps us in taking a trade. Let's dive in.
Okay, now we will understand the real life application of all that we learned in the last two episodes about bearish and bullish chart patterns. And we will analyze probably some example from Nifty 50 as well as small cap, large cap, and also a stock which has just debuted in the stock market as an IPO very recently. So let's start with Suzlon, a stock which is very, very favorite with retailers. But however, if you're a beginner, you are having some difficulties in understanding what exactly is going on in this chart. Should you buy or should you sell if you're holding the shares? So we will break it down. Stay with me, uh, and we will gradually understand what are the different chart patterns, bullish as well as bearish, which you can witness on this particular chart. Okay, I have muted all the technical indicators for the time being because we will learn them at in a later episode. Today we are going to focus only on chart pattern as on and volume. So I have put the volume bars here. This also I will explain in details in the indicator episode. But for the time being, just understand the size of this volume bar is indicating how much volume has been traded in a particular time period. For example, the size of this bar is indicating how much volume has been traded in Suzlon on this particular date, which you see 30th of May. Okay, so we will start by first identifying what has been the support and resistance zones for Suzlon historically. And if you can see here at this point, Suzlon is taking resistance. So we will consider this line as a resistance point and then try to draw our resistance line. As simple as that, just draw a straight line across this point. As soon as you do it, you will realize that uh, this line was initially acting as resistance, but once the price went over this line, in the future occasions, whenever price came towards this line has started acting as a support. Now, what happened here, you can see it took resistance one time. Then the next time it came here, it consolidated for a few days. After that, it gave a breakout. Immediately after breakout, what happened? You see it again started consolidation here. And can we try to understand if there is a particular pattern which is getting formed on the chart when it was consolidating here? So let me draw this line, which is the upper point of the prices where Suzlon was basically taking a resistance. And then we will also try to draw a line joining the support points at this for Suzlon. And you can clearly see here that Suzlon has formed an ascending triangle pattern. And as soon as there was a breakout of this ascending triangle pattern, the price went up very, very high, very quickly with a lot of momentum. Of course, as per Dow's theory, it didn't went up in a direct straight line, but there was some amount of consolidation happening at regular interval. Now, before the price fell down back to the support, a bearish chart pattern has formed on the chart, and I will help you visualize that. Let's draw a line like this. Then we will draw another line. Then we will draw another and another. So you can clearly see that Suzlon has formed a double top pattern on the daily chart. And as soon as there was a breakdown of this neckline, you can see price came down, it went back into the zone. The next time when it came down, it actually didn't enter the zone back again. It took resistance from this particular line and then it came down. So this was a clear indication that now Suzlon is moving into a downtrend. Okay. And it is also easier to confirm all these trends with the help of indicators as well. Um, in the later chapters, we will also try to add indications from technical indicators like exponential moving average, RSI, as well as Bollinger Band to further fine tune our understanding. But for today's purpose, you can clearly see it's a double top, which is a bearish pattern, and you can expect the price to move down once this has happened. Cool. So these were mainly applicable for short-term trades. Now I will remove these lines, and also I will try to show you what is happening on a long-term horizon, what sort of a chart pattern Suzlon is now forming. And for that, I will retain this long-term line, which was acting as a resistance, now it is acting as a support. And then I will join the resistance points on this graph like this. Okay. If I just increase it a bit up to this point, you can now see that Suzlon is forming on a long-term horizon what is known as a descending triangle. Okay, so the price is hovering between these two price points. Um, so you can easily expect that Suzlon should come down to this range, which is this one. I think the price has a probability of coming down back to this zone, which is between 50 and 55 rupees. And this can act as a buying zone for you. If you see that the price is taking support here and again trying to go up, then you can buy in this zone. Now, there is another possibility which might happen, and I will help you to visualize that. So if price comes down, as I said, you can buy again if there is support. However, from here, price can also go up. So you need to first watch out what price is doing. If it goes down, there is one implication. And if it goes up from here, there is another implication, and which also is a very good implication. And I will show you why. Let's just draw a line like this, which is basically, you can consider this as a support line when the price was coming down. And draw another line like this. This also can be considered as sort of support when price was going up. And then the price is also showing a small, price is also showing a small correction here. If we draw like this and this. So if price doesn't move down now, and then it hits this resistance line once again and tries to break through it, then you can see it is what it is forming is probably is going to look like a cup and handle, which is also a good thing for us. And if price gives a breakout from here, that also becomes one of your purchase points for this particular stock. And then, of course, your natural question will be whether a buy at a 50-55 range or a 70-75 range. What is the target that we want to wait for? Now, if you're buying here at a 50-55 range, then your first target will be this resistance line. As soon as it hits around 60-70 rupees, you should sell off and then wait to see what the price is doing. However, if you are buying after breakout from this resistance line, then what is your next target? We will also have a look at that. There are many instruments that you can use to decide target. We will learn them in a later episode. For the time being, what we're trying to do is to only understand what has been a long-term resistance for Suzlon, and that will be your next target. I've marked it out in the chart here. You can see this IPO base or the lowest price in the IPO month, which is around 108 rupees, can very well be the next target for Suzlon. And the next target will be this one, which is around 136 rupees. So if Suzlon gives a breakout from this triangle upwards, then on a long-term time frame, I think 108 rupees is a decent target to wait for. Now, of course, if you are planning to hold a stock uh, for long term, then you must also look into the fundamentals, track their results, and also see how the institutions, the FIIs and DIIs, are changing their stock holding pattern in that particular share. One thing which you must also notice, you see the volume traded in Suzlon on a monthly basis in the last 2 3 years have actually gone up significantly. This basically shows that accumulation is happening, uh, probably by a strong buyer, by multiple strong buyers, um, and hence I am more confident that there is a strong probability of Suzlon to continue this uptrend and at least hit this target of 108 rupees. Okay. Now we will look at one more example to understand this, and let's look into one of my favorite ones, which is IRCTC. I've already drawn the trend lines in the same way that I demonstrated for Suzlon, and you can see that on the monthly uh, chart, and this will be visible on the weekly chart, daily chart as well. IRCTC is also forming a triangle pattern. And right now, IRCTC is at the support zone of this triangle pattern. This is your support line. So this generally makes for a very good buying point. Anybody who has bought around this price, 700, 700 plus, uh, should have a very good risk to reward ratio, because if you could have put your stop loss slightly below here and then waited for a target up to almost 1,000 rupees. Now let's see what is happening when we go to the weekly chart. You see the weekly chart is also showing you the same pattern. And here in weekly chart, you can see that this stock has currently gone into a trend. You can see higher highs and higher lows are being formed. This is a high, this is a high, this is a high, this is a low, this is a low. And you can see that on weekly charts, higher CTC has now started forming higher highs and higher lows, which is a very positive sign. Also, even if there is a breakdown of this pattern, I am of good confidence that probably. So you should never take a blind bet on the stock market ever, but there is a probability that even if it tries to break structure, this particular support line is going to hold the price and can provide you more buying points in future. For the time being, we will also come and have a look at the daily chart. And on the daily chart, you can see a very nice thing is happening here. It has consolidated for some time and it has given a breakout very recently. After breakout, what happened? Price uh, went to this level around 790. Then it retraced back to this trend line, which is a very important thing uh, to confirm that any bullish movement after that has, had the probability of more buyers entering this trade when it came down to the trend line. So according to me, IRCTC is looking good, very good now. Uh, of course, when you will be seeing this video, this might not be relevant anymore at that point of time. But the main idea is, are you understanding the way the chart pattern is being analyzed here and a trading decision is being made? Now let us look at also the bearish pattern which formed in IRCTC before it came down. And if you really, let's say, analyze this one, here is one small peak, then it came down. Then if you draw a line here, it again came down to this point. Again, there was a small peak. So this is now looking like a head and shoulder pattern. And head and shoulder pattern, which is formed at the end of an uptrend when price was moving from this point to this point. And this is a bearish reversal pattern. So had if you had identified in time and you were on IRCTC, a breakdown of this point could have been your selling point. Uh, and of course, this support line becomes your um, buying points at support zone. Okay, cool. Let's go to one more chart. Um, and let us understand what is happening here. We are seeing the chart for Bharat Electronics. And I have drawn some lines already. And you can see that Bharat Electronics was respecting this resistance line for quite some time, for almost an year. Uh, and it was consolidating below this resistance line. And if you draw these lines like this, you can also see that it is probably forming a cup and handle pattern below the resistance line. And as soon as there was a breakout, price went up, it retraced back to this particular trend line. And from there, it actually went up very, very fast with a lot of momentum. And this basically shows the power of a cup and handle pattern breakout. And also you can see that when this breakout is happening, the volumes have gone up compared to their previous average volume that the stock generates on a daily basis. That is also confirmation that more players are now interested in entering the stock now that there is a breakout. Now, after the breakout happened, and I actually traded the stock, I entered somewhere around 300 rupees here, and then I exited when the stock uh, was around 380 rupees here. But of course, the stock is still moving upwards and still forming bullish patterns here. You can see there's a triangle pattern. I don't have any regrets because I have generated almost 28-30% in this move. So I will just wait to see how the stock price moves going ahead. If there is a good retracement, if there is a good correction, then probably I can decide to enter this once again. Okay, so just to reiterate, you are basically looking for a consolidation of the share price happening over some time. And longer the consolidation period, the better can be the breakout momentum. So you can see that after consolidating for almost more than a year, Bell, when it gave the breakout of this resistance line, the momentum was very, very strong. And Bell, of course, now is a Nifty 50 stock, if you know about it. Okay. Now, the last chart that we want to analyze for today's purpose is a stock which debuted in the share market some time ago, and it is our favorite, Swiggy. And I'm very sure all of you must have used Swiggy uh, for delivering food or groceries, and it's a household name now. So there was a lot of euphoria when this stock was listed, and of course many investors came in as well. But let's see what is happening in Swiggy. So you see, and this is a daily chart of Swiggy. So it debuted at around this price, then it went up very, very fast. After going up very, very fast, you can see it is now forming a double top pattern at around 611 rupees. And this should have been a warning sign for any investor who had probably invested in the IPO or bought it after the IPO was released, probably offload some of the shares at this point of time. Okay, and basically what happened, the lock-in period for the some of the investors, for the institutional investors, ended here. So they brought the price to this level. They sold off their some of their holdings here when retailers were buying. But as soon as of course, if the institutions are not having buying pressure, then price will anyways definitely drop. Now, if you're confused that is it a clear double top pattern, we can relook at this chart on an hourly basis. Probably that will help you in understanding this better. Now, when I go to a hourly chart, now you can see that the double top is very clearly visible, right? This is the first top, this is the second top. And then as soon as there is a breakdown of this neckline, the price came down, it took um, It went up, retraced back to the resistance line, and then it only went down. Um, this also gives you opportunity for intraday short selling, of course, if you have the time for doing intraday. Now let us go back to the daily chart and let's see what is happening here. So Swiggy is now consolidating below the IPO price. It tried to give a breakout. Uh, Generally, probably it will have to try for 1 2 times before it can give a confirmed breakout. Currently, I see that it is actually taking a resistance from the IPO lowest, the IPO close to the IPO price. But see, even if you're holding Swiggy, I would say that, or you have bought it around this support line because it gave a breakout and now it is back inside. Um, See, if you're a very long-term investor, you can decide to stay. If you're a short-term trader and you don't want to block your money, you can exit. However, the longer Swiggy spends time in this zone, um, the longer will be the accumulation and the better will be the momentum when Swiggy breaks above this IPO price. However, if Swiggy goes down below this particular line, then it's a warning sign because, of course, if it closes below 300 rupees, then there might be more selling which will come in. But for the time being, I think that Swiggy is in a consolidation phase and you can accumulate once Swiggy gives a confirmed strong breakout above the 390 rupees price. Okay. Cool. I think that we have taken several examples to demonstrate how the chart patterns can look like in a chart, and if you can identify them in advance and make your trading decisions based on informed chart patterns combined with volume, combined with technical indicators, then the probability of you making money from the stock market actually increases manifold. That's all for today. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode.